Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Bright Founders Talk at Temy. Temy is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we are lucky enough to have another amazing guest joining us, Marco Verhoeven, CEO at catchHR. Hello, Marco. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I did pause on the last name. I hope I got it right, because I did actually amend the spelling so that I could get it right. So I hope I got it right for you.
Totally.
For those who may not be familiar with you or your company, could you just give us a little bit of a brief introduction about yourself and the company that you work at?
Of course. I founded the company about 5 years ago, and catchHR is a company in the agentic AI field right now. We started as an AI company in recruiting. Right now, we do agentic AI for active sourcing, so reaching out to suitable candidates through agents, basically.
And was that something that you've always been interested in, HR, or was it more like the AI aspect? Is that something that you've always been interested in?
I've always been interested in both paths, but I started as a consultant, and there I had my first contact with HR and with staffing, because we staffed many teams, and some of them worked out pretty well, some of them not. And I was always thinking of a way to get this more efficient, so to know who is a good fit from the beginning and not just finding it out once you already work together. And yeah, that's how I got interested into HR topics. And I was always a tech guy, so always interested in all those developments, and of course the latest developments made a lot possible there.
It must be amazing when you're interested in both fields and you can bring them both together. What actually inspired you to found like catchHR? Like, was there a certain problem or a certain issue that you wanted to solve, and that's what prompted you to start the company?
Actually, I found that I'm a misfit myself in the company that I worked for, and I felt like I could do a lot better in another place, and I think that's when I realized, okay, there were some issues in the recruitment process that led to this situation, which wasn't very good for both sides, because the employer, they lost one of their employees, and for me, of course, it was also not the area or the company I could thrive in, and that's how I got interested in the field, and I wanted to solve this for as many people as possible.
So you mentioned that you were previously a consultant. Were there any particular aspects of being a consultant, or like any of your previous work experiences, that helped you in your current role as like CEO of catchHR?
Oh, definitely. So as a consultant, I would say you always look at the big picture, and this is something what I always have to do as a CEO. Not micromanaging at a lower level, but seeing the whole picture, and making sure that everything goes into the right direction.
Now, many people, when they're first starting their company, they tell me that like, having a network of people to help build that company was really important, especially in the start. Was that the same experience for you? Did you have a good network of people that you could rely on, or did you kind of do it solo?
Actually, I started really early, so my network wasn't there. But I started building a network when I started building a company, and actually, I founded it right out of university. So consulting was my first job. It was just a couple of months, and then I founded a company already. So the network wasn't there, but I was very eager to enlarge the network in the first couple of months, and I was I visited every meetup and everything in the city, and I enlarged the network quite fast, and I think it was very important looking back. Yeah, definitely.
Is a network still important once the company's up and running? Do you still need to put out those tendrils, make sure that you're connected with other people?
It is. I mean, you don't have the time anymore to go to every meetup twice a week or something. But in the end, like all the connections you have already, and you always know someone you can phone and and have a brief chat with if there's an issue. I also had a mastermind group which helped me very much. So I think like enlarging the network, and also being in contact with as many people as possible, and to know who to go to for specific issues. I think this is always very, very important.
So for listeners new to catchHR, maybe they're not overly familiar with it. Like how would you describe like the core platform and the biggest problems that it solves for organizations?
So right now there are two big problems for organizations. One of them is that they have to find out who is a great fit for their team, and they need to find this out having a look at thousands of applications. So some of our customers get thousands of applications and need to yeah, you can't talk to everyone. This is the issue, and you need to know who it makes sense to talk to from the beginning. And this is something that we can solve. And on the other hand, also getting the right people in, because yeah, like the traditional way of recruiting is very inefficient. So you just post your job somewhere, and then yeah, you have to be lucky that the right person just looks at it and says, oh, that might be interesting for me. We do it the other way around. So we source the whole web and reach out to people that are a great fit from the beginning, and just making sure that they hear from you. And this is I think one of the biggest issues that you can have as an entrepreneur, and you won't have the time to do this by yourself.
Definitely. So is catchHR trying to replace the human element or enhance it?
As I said, like there's right now there's no way to do this manually because it's just at such a big scale, and there's no possibility to do it. So yeah, there are some human elements that we will replace, but also I think with our technology, you are able to do a lot more active recruiting for roles that you wouldn't have been possible to do it before.
So if there are like other like HR application tools out there that companies could use, what makes your particular application, your business stand out from the others?
So we have at the core of catchHR, we have an algorithm that focuses on different aspects that others usually not focus on. Most companies just have a look at CVs. And what we built from the beginning is a tool, an algorithm that also understands people's needs, so knows what they want. And I mean, everyone knows this. You can do something, but that doesn't mean that you want to do it. And if you just are able to do something and you have to do it all day, but you don't like to do it, it's very likely that you won't stay in the company and you won't do this for long. And this is exactly what we want to solve. So just having more than just a CV on hand before we tell someone that this is a great fit.
So let's imagine a new company comes to you, they're really interested in your product, and why wouldn't they be? What does a typical like onboarding journey look like?
Usually we start with a couple of jobs because most of them have like 10, 20, 30 open positions, but they just want to try it out to have a real world experience of AI, what we can do for them. So we pick some of their jobs that they want to fill, but they have issues with, and then we just hand it over to the agent. So this is run up and running in a couple of minutes, and they get the first results in the first hours already. So it's really hands-on, and get to know the AI and what it can do for you from the beginning. And then we usually have a lot of meetings in between in the first couple of weeks to make sure that everything is aligned with what the company wants to reach with the tool. And then we go into a long-term partnership.
So humans are like the unpredictable element when they use AI, when we try to use these features. Like, have there been like any like insights or early adopters that have surprised you either in like the requests that they've made or the way that they want to use the technology?
That was very interesting because at the beginning we just had the matching, and this is what we developed first. And then like the market surprised me a lot because the company I worked at didn't have an issue with the amount of applications. But most of the companies I talked to after we developed the algorithm to screen people, they told me like, we don't have the applications, so there's an issue for us. So that might be a great tool, but we can't use it because there's only 3 people applying, and I don't need a tool to tell me who of those 3 might be a good fit. And that was something that surprised me, really much. So getting into touch with the market and with the companies I wanted to sell this tool to. I should have done this a little earlier, maybe. So, because from there we had the idea to develop it further and to also have an agent to reach out to people.
Hindsight's 2020, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, before it was not an agent; it was more like a workflow, and we tried to plug with different tools out there and try to just spread the word about the job. And obviously, with agentic AI and Gen AI, it's all a little bit easier for us now.
We will come on to AI in just a second. Just before I do move on to that topic, like, how do you measure success for your customers? Like, are there particular KPIs that you really focus on? What is it that makes your company measure success?
That's very interesting because we measure it differently compared to our customers. Our customers usually measure the amount of applications that go in. I don't know why, but this is something that everyone is obsessed with in HR, and this is something that we can do really good because, like, you get the job out there, and you reach out to more people than just without active recruiting, obviously. But for us, it's more important to see whether the people that are hired and are recommended through our system stay in the company and are happy with what they're doing. So we try to get this information after the hire and try to to track whether that was actually a good decision for both sides. And so for us, it's more like an internal KPI where we see, okay, does the person stay in the company and how's the performance? This is something what we look at.
That's really interesting, isn't it? That you think that they should be looking at the data in a particular way, but they use it in a different way. Maybe it's just always numbers are always just important. They just love bigger numbers, so bigger numbers means more success. Is that the simplistic way you think they're looking at it?
The question is whether it's possible for you to track all this, and most companies don't have the access to the data. And if you do just 3 or 5 hires a year, it probably doesn't make sense because even if you had the data, there's not much information in it. But for us, it's a lot easier if you have like hundreds of thousands of applications every year and you can track a lot. Then, of course, you see whether the data makes sense and you can also improve with the data. And this is something where I would say this is also very cool for small companies that they can participate and learn from larger data sets, what wouldn't be possible for them without us.
Are there like any big misconceptions that like HR departments or HR leaders like still have about digital transformation? Are they realistic? Or sometimes are they maybe like verging on like idealism when it comes to what they want it to do?
I think there's a common misconception that people decide better than tech. I think this due to the fact that the most people really believe that what they are doing and their work is what they do is really good and they know what they're doing. I think there's on the other hand, science shows the world is full of biases and people think they are more objective than they actually are. And I think this is a common misconception to mistrust the data and AI on the one hand, and on the other hand, trust like the decision making of people. I really trust the decision making of people in a later step once like the biases are already like almost wiped away. I think it makes sense to decide who, like, your gut feeling is not always bad. Who you want to work with, like this is something at a very late step in the process, from my opinion, but it shouldn't be at the first step. And people are looking at CVs and think different things about this person without knowing him or her, and this is, I think, a common misconception and it's totally wrong to do it that way and not to use the tools that we have nowadays.
So let's talk about the AI now. So if we're talking like generally in the marketplace, are there any particular trends that you're like really excited about now? Maybe that you want to implement in the future or that you're just curious about, especially in relation to like the HR tech space?
There's a lot going on right now. So I feel like very soon there will be a lot more applications out there because also the candidates will use AI. This is what like the industry refers to as a rat race. So everyone's building their tech, right? And the applicants will use AI. That means you can reach out to, let's say, 1,000 companies when you reached out to maybe 50 before, when you did it all manually. And that leads to an issue, but also to something that excites me very much. The issue on the one hand is if the companies and the processes are still very manually and outdated and traditional, then that might lead to overwhelming amount of applications that they can't handle anymore. On the other hand, what I see, what excites me is I think there is such an inefficiency in the market right now. And the labor market is, like, I would say, the biggest market on earth. Of course, labor is basically everything. And there's such an inefficiency that people are working at the wrong places, that many people are unhappy with work they do and don't perform to their best. And I think, especially in Western societies where like the markets are not growing anymore, or not so much growing, I think this is one of the best leverages that we have to make sure that the people that are employed in a full employment state, that those people are employed in the best possible way.
I was going to ask a question, like maybe it's a bit foolish, and maybe you don't want to answer it honestly, it depends. You mentioned earlier that the tech space, or this HR tech space, is going to become a lot more crowded in the future. Do you like being maybe like a big fish in a small pond? Or do you like it when you have lots of competition because it forces you to become like really innovative and really efficient? I'm not sure if that's a good question to ask you, because maybe I feel like I know what you're going to say.
Well, we started as a company knowing that it is a red ocean already. So we had hundreds of competitors, and I think competition is very good, especially like in the tech space. And it doesn't have to be the case that always like from a subjective perspective, like just for me and my company, of course, it would be great to be a monopolist, but I think for society and for everyone else, it's better to have as many options as possible.
Are there any things in the future that either your company's working on, or actually maybe you just want to be very idealistic about, like about what you would like AI to do in the future? Do you have any plans like that, or any ideals that you'd like to aspire to?
Definitely. So I think that the work as a whole will change very rapidly in the next couple of years. But I believe that there's always room for humans to be working at something. The question is what? And it might be, we don't know what it looks like in the next couple of years. But what we want to do with AI is definitely making sure that people are happy with what they do. I think that the work environment will be very changing very much, also on an individualistic level. So people will be switching jobs more often. Maybe it's more project based. And I think to make this happen and to make this possible, there needs to be something database that makes sure that people are able to switch very easily through different positions, where they can bring the most to society and to the economy as a whole.
How do you balance things like innovation and upscaling quickly with like maintaining trust, matching compliance, and like data security, especially in like a very sensitive field like HR?
So yeah, we are a German company, so compliance is at our very heart. So we had external lawyers to look at our GDPR compliance before we even had employees. So as you can imagine. So yeah, basically, it's not easy because sometimes you have to step back and you're not able to, like, you have a prototype and you're really proud of it, and you just wanted to let it run. But you wait and step back and check whether everything's properly working, and this is how we develop it. So we think that also you build trust with bringing out software that is already tested and proven, rather than just being the first on the market, because then you will lose the trust. And we want to work long term with our customers. We really are not interested in short term engagement and having a hockey stick for like a couple of weeks and then losing it all. So yeah, there's definitely lots of checks before we launch something new.
So you mentioned long term there. Like, what is your long term vision for Catch HR, and like, how do you see yourself and your company like evolving, especially let's say the next decade?
So we want to be the enabler of this new future of work, where everyone can switch jobs like instantly, and everyone can be placed at a position where he or she can bring the best to society and to yeah. Maybe there's also work without companies. I don't know this because companies just a way of organizing work, and you could organize it totally different. We see this in projects, especially in the tech field already, like open source and everything. So it could be that it goes more into that direction, and to enable this, you need technology that is proven and makes sure that people can thrive in their jobs. And we want to be this catalyst and enabler.
Wow, that's an incredible way to think about it. Like work without companies. That seems like bizarre, but it could very well happen, mightn't it? Especially if you have like a very efficient AI system in particular. Incredible, actually. I never thought about it like that. If there's an aspect that you could change of the HR tech space, if there's one thing that you could change like overnight, what would it be?
I have to think about this a little because there's a lot of things that I don't like, but if I had to to choose one of them, um, it is probably like the thing we talked about before, like those biases and being sought out as a candidate by a person who doesn't really know you. And I think this is very unfair. So basically, this is, I think, also the biggest issue that those processes, like they are hundreds of years old. And of course there were some updates, but basically it's the same inefficiency as it has been 100 years ago, and I think I would really want to change that overnight.
And we are unfortunately coming towards the end of the interview. So my final question that I like to ask everyone, especially with CEOs who started their own companies, if there's someone watching this, someone who's interested in starting their own company, maybe it's HR related or not, like what advice would you give them, the most important thing that they should take away from this?
Well, what I've learned, and I also said at the beginning, is that getting into contact with the market and your targets as soon as possible makes a difference. I think I could have saved a year or something, maybe even more. Yeah, being bold from the beginning, even if there's nothing that you have, and just telling people, and yeah, don't be afraid that anyone might steal your idea because that won't happen anyway. So there's the world is full of ideas. It's always like execution. So get out there, talk to people, and gather feedback as fast and as soon as possible.
Marco, amazing advice. Like, how could we not follow that? Marco, again, I just want to thank you so much again for taking time out of your day. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Likewise, thank you so much.
That was Marco Verhoeven, CEO at catchHR.